Hello chess enthusiasts, welcome back to our channel. My name is ONKAR. In today's video, we will explore the fascinating world of Vienna chess opening. Whether you are a beginner or experienced player, understanding this opening will significantly enhance your games. So let's dive into it. Okay, the Vienna opening starts with pawn to e4 and pawn to e5. After that, we will not develop our knight to f3, but we will develop a knight to c3. After knight to c3, most commonly black would play is knight to c6 or knight to f6. Let's see if they develop their knight to f6, then we will go for Vienna gambit. We will play pawn to f4. They will take our pawn. We will push our pawn and threatens the knight. Here knight can't move to these squares, so knight goes back. After the knight goes back, we will develop our knight to f3, stopping this queen check. So after that, black will play pawn to d6. Then we will play pawn to d4. They will take our pawn. We will give them a check with our bishop. Most commonly, black would block this check with the pawn. After that, we will just slide back our bishop. After that, if they take the pawn, we will just completely ignore this threat and we will take another pawn with the bishop. And here, if black becomes greedy and takes the knight, here's a tricky move. Let me show you guys. We will just sacrifice our bishop. And if the king takes, we are winning the queen. And if they doesn't take and moves to e7, then if you are thinking giving them a check with the bishop, that would be the wrong move because they can block it with the knight. So giving the check with the bishop would be the wrong move. But giving a check with the queen on e2, then they will take the bishop. We will give them a check with the knight, and if the king goes to any of the e file, let's see if the king goes to e8, then we will give them a discovered check and we are winning a queen. Let me show you. If they doesn't go to e file and they will play, if they play king to f6, then we will sacrifice our bishop. If they takes the bishop, here we got a royal fork. Now sometimes when we push the pawn and threatens to take the knight, knight doesn't go back, but they will just pin this pawn to the king. Then don't worry, we will play queen to e2. After that, they have to move the knight. The knight goes back. After the knight goes back, we will develop our another knight to f3, stopping this queen check. After that, black wants to get rid of this pawn, so they could attack with the pawn or with the knight, c6 or d6. So let's see if they go brings their knight to c6, then we will develop our pawn to d4. After that, if they play pawn to d6, we will bring our knight, attack the queen. Queen will go here and here to stop the fork. So if the queen goes here, we will just sacrifice our knight, and if the queen takes, that is going to be a discovered check and we are going to win a queen. Let me show you guys. If they doesn't bring the knight and if they puts the pawn, we will do a same. We will threaten to take the queen. Queen will go to stop this fork. We will sacrifice our knight. Queen takes the knight. We will give them a discovered check and we are winning a queen. Till now we have seen knight to f6. Let's see knight to c6. If knight to c6, we will not play pawn to f4, but we will develop our bishop to c4. After developing the bishop on c4, most of the times opponent tries to copycat our moves. If they brings their bishop to c5, after that we will play a tricky move, queen to g4. After that, they tries to bring this queen here, attacking the f2. So here we will ignore that and we will play knight to d5, attacking the king for a fork and attacking this also after this. So if they gives a check, we will move our king, and this is not going to be a checkmate because bishop is guarding that square. So after that, after that they will try to put this pawn here, attacking the queen. Here we will take the pawn. After taking the pawn, they will try to attack the knight, stopping this fork. So we will ignore that and we will attack the queen. Now if they takes the knight, we will play rook here attacking the queen. If the queen goes here, takes this, we will give them a check here. King goes here, we will give them a check here. King goes here, we will give them a check with the knight, rook. They will block it with the knight. We will give them a check again. They block here, we give them a check again. They goes here, and this is going to be a checkmate. And if they doesn't take with the bishop and moves the queen, then we are just doing a fork and we are just winning this, and we would be in a good position. And if they doesn't push this pawn and stops the queen from coming here and push that pawn, then we will attack the queen. The only square for queen is to go on d4. After that we will put that queen in the prison, and c3 is coming and we are winning the queen. And if they doesn't copycat our moves, and if they play knight to f6, the most common move, then here we can't play pawn to f4 because they can take the pawn, and when we take the knight they can do a fork, and when we go back they can take the knight, we will take, and this would be a very odd position. So not playing f4 but protecting this pawn. So we have to play pawn to d3. After pawn to d3 they can play bishop here, then we can go for f4, then takes, and we can take back. And if they, and after this if they doesn't take and plays this, then we will just maintain the pressure here. And if the knight comes here on g4 trying to do a fork, we will just completely ignore that and we will play knight to g5, doing the same on their side. And when they comes on f2, then we will play queen to h5. After that, if they blocks the queen here, we will give them a check here. The king will move here, we will give them a check again with the knight. The king moves here, we will check with the queen, bishop again. The king goes back here, and we are bringing that queen here, and that is going to be a checkmate. And after this move, if they tries to castle and put this king in the safe, then we will do one thing, is we will just cut off this bishop's file, bishop supporting that knight. And when they play this, we will play here trying to do a mate here and attacking here. After this, if they play this stopping the mate over there, then we will sacrifice our knight here. After that, if the rook takes, we can take it with the pawn, we can take it with the queen. King moves here, we can push the pawn. If the queen takes, we are threatening a checkmate over here.